Would you countenance leaving the ECHR to get Rwanda going?
Look, on this, I've been very clear. I believe that our scheme, including the Rwanda part of it, all our plans to tackle illegal migration. Let me just answer the question, Harry. I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations, including the ECHR. But I believe that border security and controlling illegal migration is more important than our membership of any foreign court.
So you could countenance putting in the next Tory manifesto a pledge to leave the ECHR?
Well, I said, I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations, including the ECHR, but I do believe that border security and making sure that we can control illegal migration is more important than membership of a foreign court.
Well, let's break this absolute bollocks down.
I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations, including the ECHR.
Well, imagine the shock for the Prime Minister when someone reminds him he's previously said this about his plan.
It disapplies relevant sections of the Human Rights Act.
And he actually says that with a sense of pride. The whole country should hang its head in shame. Just listen to those two clips again.
I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations, including the ECHR. It disapplies relevant sections of the Human Rights Act.
We literally cannot believe a word this government says. And as for this,
I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations.
Well, a damning new parliamentary report from the Cross-Party Joint Committee on Human Rights has just found his controversial Rwanda bill is fundamentally incompatible with the UK's human rights obligations, erodes the protections laid down in the Human Rights Act, contravenes parts of the European Convention on Human Rights, and falls short of the UK's commitment to comply with international treaties. And if all that's not bad enough, the report found the actions the Prime Minister is taking actually places the UK's hard-won reputation for the rule of law and human rights in jeopardy. And what's worse, when the Prime Minister says this,
I believe that our plans are compliant with all our international obligations.
He actually knows he's talking complete bollocks.
I do believe that border security and making sure that we can control illegal migration is more important than membership of a foreign court.
The Prime Minister repeated this throughout the interview.
I've been very clear that I wouldn't let a foreign court block us from sending flights. Securing our borders and controlling illegal migration to me is more important than membership of any foreign court.
It's an appalling and deliberately inflammatory and divisive choice of language from the Prime Minister. The European Court of Human Rights is not a foreign court. It's an international court which we signed up to. And I'll say this every week if I have to. The European Convention on Human Rights protects the right to a fair trial, freedom of assembly and expression, the right to participate in free elections, freedom of religion, freedom from discrimination, the right to privacy, freedom from torture and degrading treatment. Suggesting the UK could join Russia and Belarus as the only European countries outside the Human Rights Convention is just completely insane.
We clearly have a problem with human rights law in this country that is making it difficult for us to achieve our objectives.
We're already facing a democratic crisis in the UK as Sunak's completely out of control government shuts down accountability in Parliament, through the courts and on the streets. According to International Human Rights Watch, the UK could soon make the list of countries that abuse rather than protect human rights, thanks to this government's outright onslaught on the rights of its own citizens. Just think about that. And any argument we can just leave the ECHR and create our own Bill of Rights presupposes we can actually trust the government with our human rights in the first place. During the past 18 months, we've had an anti-strike law designed to rob millions of workers of their democratic right to strike. An Elections Act will lock millions of people out of the electoral process. A blatant act of voter suppression by the government. And new laws will strip back our right to protest and limit our rights to judicial review. An affront to the very principles of fairness and government accountability. Can anybody see a pattern emerging here?